All right,
So
we've
we're
got a
just gonna.
green light. Hey, I just cut a new video and Cameron hadn't watched it yet, so you get to watch Cameron watch it. We're going to talk about this a little bit. This is a little something I like to call the OK Boomer. The OK Boomer meme. By now, it is likely that you've been a. Okay. Just just to make sure. Cameron, you are getting audio, right?
Yes, I'm getting audio, good
Okay.
sir.
Cuz yeah. All right, here we go. The OK Boomer meme. By now, it is likely that you've been assaulted by the OK Boomer meme on your social media feed somewhere. This one needs a little dissection. Unlike the lady and the cat meme and the Epstein didn't kill himself memes that have been the only other memes that you've been seeing these last few weeks, the OK Boomer meme has some real depth, and it's disgusting. I need a pop filter. So, the cat lady meme, you have two pictures showing a woman making an angry and accusatory face, and then there's the smug cat rebuking her claim. So, depending on the text, each iteration of this meme is simple and self-contained. The Epstein meme, while possibly the most important public service announcement of our generation and arguably the first ever truly bipartisan participatory protest against our deeply corrupt pedophile rape gang, government, please don't kill me, Hillary. It's not complex. Epstein didn't kill himself. That's just a brute fact. The OK Boomer meme is more layered and grating. When the latter generations issue the OK Boomer platitude, they are saying this. You are the lesser progeny of the greatest generation and have fallen far short of the glory of those rightly revered men and women of war, strife, austerity, and perseverance. You are less than those that came before. Your generation is responsible for all of the worst things about our country, our culture, our economy, and our society. It was your reckless fiscal policy that has created the crushing, Sisyphean burden of debt that our country carries. It was your bizarre and wrong-headed belief that success was contingent on a college degree and that academic attainment is equivalently correlative with professional achievement to the extent that the confiscatory redistribution of an artificially guaranteed subsidization of same could equalize outcomes without dispossessing opportunities. It was your cowardice and inaction that generated the Cold War and never-ending wars in the Middle East. It was your unconstitutional obsession with prohibition that has traded away our young lives to the prison system and the crack and opioid epidemics, while simultaneously usurping our civil liberties and state sovereignty under a gross and deliberate misinterpretation of the Commerce Clause, intentionally substituting the responsibility of the federal government to keep regular with the explicitly forbidden authority to regulate trade between states. It was your casual dismissal of the 14th Amendment's restrictions on our sacred citizenship being extended beyond those progeny of persons subject to the jurisdiction thereof that flooded our streets, our shelters, our jobs, and our welfare system with hostile foreign invaders. Or something like that. Now, don't get me wrong. These are all fair criticisms of the largely Democrat voting generation that is now living off of the soon-to-be bankrupted Social Security system that has served to confiscate the wealth of their children and grandchildren at the expense of the American dream and to posterity. After all, the national debt and the cost of the welfare programs and war on poverty that followed in the wake of their so-called compassion are virtually identical figures. But here's the thing that really makes my asshole pucker. The irresponsible children that are posting this meme and dismissing the wisdom that has been amassed by so much hindsight into the gross failures of our forebears in this nation are Bernie voters. They support the Green New Deal, and they think that objective reality is passé. They have student debt loads that look like mortgages on degrees in grievance studies and struggled with opening soup cans. While they may be the product of a generation that is lesser than the one before, let's not forget that the boomer is lesser than the greatest generation. The strong men that came before them raised the boomers in comfort and plenty by the hard-won fight out of true struggle, in the fear that their own children would suffer the hardships that they themselves had. The result was that the boomer mistook a good life for one of struggle and pain precisely because they were spared the reality of that experience. To the greatest generation, poverty meant starvation. To the children of the boomers, poverty means that you have plastic lawn furniture in front of your 60-inch flat screen, and the rest of us are paying for your groceries, health insurance, and air conditioning. Strong men make good times. Good times make weak men. Weak men make hard times. And hard times make strong men. So before you post your little OK Boomer memes, ask yourself this question. Am I a painfully deluded adherent to neo-Marxism that is about to vote for the same and worse maddening bullshit that the boomers drew up to destroy all of the freedom and prosperity built by the greatest generation? The answer to that question, by the way, is yes, you probably are. So roll up your trendy flannel sleeves, cupcake, tighten the laces up on your ironic hiking boots, and for fuck's sake, put down the venti vanilla extra foam soy whip double water latte Americano testosterone blocker, sweetheart, because it's time to go to work before the OK Boomer trolls finish murdering your children and their American dreams. If you like this content, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Obviously, we don't get up-ranked in the algorithms, so we need all the help we can get. Tell your friends, send us around, and keep an eye out for more content and our comedic short films. This has been the Brushfire Mind with Christopher Lowry. Thank you, and good night.
Yeah, you do need a pop filter.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, that snowball picks it all up, doesn't it?
Everything. Every damn thing. So
yeah, but what a treat to wake up to. Actually, a produced video. It's almost like the Brushfire Mind is moving up in the world.
No shit.
Little step at a time. But yeah, hard times make strong men make good times, and good times make weak men, and then weak men make hard times. And that seems to be the cycle that we're in. And we seem to be in such an extended period of quote unquote good times that we've had multiple generations of so-called men who get progressively weaker and weaker. There's the thing that Rush Limbaugh talks about, the chickification of men. And he means it somewhat in jest, but there's a lot of seriousness underlying the point. I think you can't ignore the fact that part of what's going on here is this is tied into the whole toxic masculinity, patriarchal subtext that the neo-Marxists see the world in, where everybody's a class and everybody's a victim and everybody's an oppressed group and an oppressor group, and where do you fall on this intersectional identity thing? So yeah, I think you really kind of nailed it here, honestly, because yes, there's a lot of things you could criticize the boomers for. There's a lot of the stuff that they did that they should have known better, that they were, really flirting with the devil, as it were, guaranteeing student loans and increasing federal welfare benefits for everything from food to housing to medicine. And let me be clear, that stupid argument that a lot of pro-choicers make, and be like, you're not really pro-life if you don't care about the baby after it's born. No, I care about the baby after it's born, and I am more than willing, and that's the key word, I am willing to part with some of my income to ensure certain securities for that baby. It's the mom who's irresponsible that I have a lot less sympathy for. And
and by the way, pro-lifers, or pro-choicers, if you're really pro-choice, then hey, daddy gets to surrender parental rights and responsibilities voluntarily. As long as mommy can choose to just murder the baby, then daddy ought to be able to walk away.
Yeah, I mean, Dave Chappelle had that whole fantastic line where you thought he was going to go off into super liberal territory. He said, "Gentlemen, you just need to shut up. You're not allowed to make a single decision about that baby. But women, we need to be allowed to walk away because if you're allowed to kill it, we should at least be allowed to abandon it." But I think we're in such a big extended period now of good of for the most part, and it's not just here in this country, the entire world has seen its wealth rise, has seen its standards of living rise. And when people point out that, oh, actually, your age of expected death is falling in certain countries, and yeah, that's happening, but that's because we're so fat and happy in those countries. We're dying a little sooner than we need to because we have that much excess available to us. And I think it really goes back to what we were talking about yesterday when there's this thing that drives Chris and I both nuts. And it's when people don't answer the question.
Jesus, just answer the damn question that I asked.
Yes. Yes, it's when they don't answer the question that you asked them. They answer something close to the question that you asked them, or they answer the question that you wished you had asked them, or whatever. Chris and I were on the phone yesterday, and I do pest control for apartment complexes, and the maintenance man followed me into an apartment complex. It followed me into one of the apartments I was working at, and he was saying something to me, and I was just trying to keep going. And I said, "Hey, do you need for me to lock the door behind me?" And he says, "That's cool." And so I kind of grit my teeth and I asked him a second time, "Do you need for me to lock the door behind me?" And he says, "You can if you want to." To which I just turned and walked away. And it turned out that the maintenance man actually had a key to that particular apartment the entire time. So the correct answer to the question was, no, I don't need for you to lock the apartment behind you. And that's kind of a small microcosm of an example of the way.
That's all you had to say.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm sending the wolf. I love Quentin Tarantino. Anyhow.
Yeah, and like I told you yesterday, I had the same experience or a similar experience just trying to fly to the airport with my wife and kid out of Hawaii several years ago. I had a car seat with me, and I asked the girl at the counter, "Hey, do I have to bring the car seat on the airplane for the kid?" And she said, "Well, you can if you want to." No. Do I have to? Well, you can. That's not the question I'm asking you. And I mean, I clarified like deeply. Is there a law, a regulation, a company policy? Well, you can bring it on if you want to. Why? Why? Why can't you just answer the question I'm asking you? I can't. The wrong. Giving me the right answer to the wrong question is less than useless. It's worse than unserviceable. This is a total tangent. Let's get back to thing.
It's
also,
not entirely...
I went ahead and ordered a pop filter. It'll be here tomorrow.
That was a good idea. No, I don't think it's a total tangent. I think it comes right back to, and I think it comes right back to the way people communicate now. Because we've gone into this whole bizarro territory where people think snark, a joke, or in this case, even an outright meme is an acceptable substitute for substantive communication. And I dare say that somewhere along the timeline, whatever, when boomers were coming to maturation, this is when this became the norm, to where, well, we have to soften our language and we have to add qualifiers to our language and do all these things because there's no reason to offend somebody. And I think it even goes back to that whole thing about, well, it's impolite to discuss religion and politics. And that always baffled me. So wait a minute. it's impolite to discuss the thing that is going to govern your life, and it's impolite to discuss the thing that's going to govern your afterlife. That never tracked with me. And it seems to somewhere in that gap with the greatest generation and the boomers, that seems to be where this sort of sentiment took hold, and it has now flowered into this Venus flytrap of political correctness, where now we take the lyrics to Baby It's Cold Outside and change them into to make changes to the song that aren't even necessary. Are you tracking on this, Chris?
Oh yeah, that we can't play Baby It's Cold Outside on the radio anymore, but we can listen to Cardi B talk about eating somebody's ass. Or,
Yes.
you know what? I was about to say no, I mean sing about. No, I don't mean sing about. I mean talk about. Cardi B makes music for women who wash paper plates.
Yeah. So, okay, boomer. Yeah, there's a lot of legit criticisms of the boomers. This is true. But I mean, you got to take everything in historical context and realize that well, as you said in the video, they were born of a generation that had damn near everything taken away from them. And then, oh yeah, on top of that, had to sail in at the last second and help fight a world war. And then the ones that survived that process rebuilt society. And surprise, surprise, people that had dealt with actual things like crippling poverty and being bombed in the Pacific and stuff like that. They were a little tougher, a little tougher than your average bear, and possessed the ability to get shit done. And while I would not,
well, they possessed the Constitution and the depth of faith to go as far as was needed.
Yeah, and that's not the world we it's not the world we live in anymore. Now the world we live in has Gillette going woke, and has Star Wars going broke, and Terminator Dark Fate going woke
and broke.
Yeah, woke and way broke.
Okay, and this is a whole nother episode, and we've talked about it a little bit before, but good Lord, am I dancing and singing in the ashes of Hollywood as it burns to the ground. Because the big media empires, they're in trouble. They're all hurting right now. Now, let's not forget, everything's relative. They're making fewer billions than they were. But I mean, the mainstream media the big press outlets, the Gray Lady, they're all laying people off. Hollywood is losing their asses at the box office consistently, just over and over and over again. They make these woke bullshit remakes. God, make a movie. Have an original thought.
Yeah, if you really want to do something, my daughter actually asked me this previous weekend. She was like, "Daddy, you love the Terminator. Have you gone to go see the new Terminator movie?" And I said, "No, I have not. I could tell from the previews that it was going to be
there is no new Terminator movie."
Yeah, I could tell from the previews that it was going to be some stupid ram it down your throat girl power type of message. And my daughter stopped for a second and was like, "Do you have a problem with girl power?" And I said, in and of itself, no, I don't. But it helps when girls act like girls and then they are empowered because of it. But if girls are going to act like boys and that's what makes them empowered, I mean, seriously, leftists, do you realize what you're admitting when you actually make women act more masculine and somehow that makes them the hero of the story? I mean, do you understand the deep implications behind these things?
What, that only men can be heroes, and if you want to be a hero and a woman, that you have to act like a man? That you have to, abandon your gender, which is one of the two.
Yeah, there are only two. Good Lord.
Well, no. I'm sorry. Let me clarify that point. For someone to make the claim that in order for a woman to be heroic and strong, she has to act more like a man, is to simultaneously make the claim that there are but two genders. That's the funny thing about these lefties is they are consistently self-exclusionary hypocrites. Their every other claim contradicts the one before it.
Or would you see this segment and think we're just rambling a whole bunch about nothing and say, okay, Gen Xer, or okay, conservative, or let me tell you one that Chris and I fairly get, okay, white guy. As though my opinion is automatic.
You're mansplaining. I'm not mansplaining. I'm hyper polyglot genius splaining. Burgers.
I'm sorry that I've actually read books and thought about what those books have said, and then maybe drawn some conclusions from the world around me in conjunction with the reading and the thinking and all of that. Yeah, my bad. But that's just mansplaining or white-splaining or whatever. And I think, Chris, if you wanted to really put a button on it, that's what bothers you so much about the whole okay boomer. It's just another version of sit down, white guy. You don't get to have an opinion on race because you're white. Well, shut up, boomer. You don't get to have an opinion on what's going on because you helped make the mess. I mean, forget the fact that sometimes the guy that screwed it up is the one you need to go talk to figure out how to fix it. Because even if all you learn from failure is don't do it that way, that's a hell of an important lesson.
Yeah. And if you're going to be critical of somebody, maybe you should be critical of somebody that's doing things differently than you're doing things. These Bernie bros that are posting the OK Boomer memes, man, they're trying to do the same insane crap that got us where we are.
Yeah, but by entire factors in scale that much larger. Like, okay, if the student loan program was so bad or whatever, then why would we compound it by having the Green New Deal, which is just going to give a job and a college education to everybody? Because that's why college is expensive, because we guaranteed it to everybody. You want to see the sharp rise in college? Stop guaranteeing student loans. Allow student loans to be discharged in bankruptcy, and I guarantee you that insane price scaling stops immediately. Because if I ran a bank, hell yeah, I'm going to give out student loans. They're guaranteed, and you can't even get rid of them through bankruptcy. So they're basically a guaranteed moneymaker. And if you default on the student loan, the federal government will step in and seize part of your tax returns and give that money to the issuing bank. Well, yeah, I mean, shit, I might do nothing but student loans. And
yeah.
I mean, why not? It's basically a money spigot.
Well, I think we've gone
way over.
Yeah, we're over time and we're off topic. I think we've done enough. I hope y'all enjoyed this cut. And hey, if you watched it with us here, just do me a favor. Go click on the actual video, because it's on the channel. It should be the video right before this one on the channel. It's just entitled OK Boomer. Do me a favor. Watch it there without our commentary, even if you just click it and let it play through, just to help us with our numbers and get the channel growing. And we will see you guys tomorrow morning when we ask the question, WTF CNN? And y'all be safe out there. It's time to go to work.
Hell up. Go to work.
Okay. I will talk to you later, brother.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.